champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man,
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show. Hey, we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble here. Man, talking about it all, discussing it all, laughing at it all while providing a platform to be heard. So you know what we do without further ado, we got to bring him in the game. And I know MH is excited, right? Because this is when we got another DB on the show. So we're going to probably do some too deep cover, some Tampa 2 or something like that. But, man, getting right into it, man. He's a rising NFL defensive back representing today's and the next generation of athletes who blend performance and personality with a purpose. He's known for his physical presence on the field, so he'll come up and smack him on it. You know what I'm saying? So he'll come up to you. But he's also thoughtful, man, culture-forward approach to his off the field, and we'll definitely get into that, man. Some amazing things with that. And he's here to keep it pounding, all right? So he's always elevating, man. Cornerback for the Carolina Panthers. Please clap it up for Akayleb Evans, man. Clap it up, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So how we always start the show is we started with a shoot your shot moment, all right? It's real simple, man. It's a shoot your shot moment where you went for it all. You could have learned a lesson, or you could have, grabbed the bag. But just a shoot your shot lesson, it could have been, in high school, in college, or today in your NFL career. But just give us a shoot your shot moment.
Yeah, I would. For one moment, I would definitely go with when I decided to transfer when I was in college. It took a lot of faith to, step out on a limb going into my last year, and I knew I needed to make that jump, right? So I was at the University of Tulsa, and, I already graduated, had my degree, and I was like, look, I have to walk on faith now, right? And going in the portal, you know how scary that can get for guys. So I made that decision and, ended up walking out on the other side, on the bright side, it went well. So it was a big faith moment for me.
There you go. That's the way to shoot your shot for real.
No, for sure. Okay, where did your love for ball start? When did it start?
Oh man, as early as I can remember. Like I remember, in elementary school playing at recess, right? Like that's the only place I could play. My mom wouldn't let me play, right? Organized football. So, I'm playing at recess and, my teacher was the quarterback and he was like, look, this kid got something. And I always told people, I'm like, look, I'm meant to be in the league. Like, I feel it. You know what I mean? So, from my earliest memories, just playing out on recess, like, I just felt like I was different, and, I just believed in myself. So, it's always been there.
Man, that's how they do it in Texas, though, right?
Oh, and we live, breathe, eat. That's all football.
and no pun, but I mean the teacher know football too, right? So he saw it from the get-go.
And that's why I still talk to him to this day, like because he saw it. Yeah. I still talk to him to this day because he believed in it. And it's easy when you're a kid. A lot of people be like, yeah, all right, like NFL aspirations, right? But I'm like, I really believe in this, right? And he saw it, so always got love for him.
That's dope.
What started on as a former DB long time ago? We all find that position at different times. So what kind of got you into being a defensive back?
So when I was in high school, my freshman and sophomore year, I played receiver, right? And I dealt with like injuries, getting hit in the knee, you know what I mean, getting hit in the head, right? And I was like, like receiver cool, but I just don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I got to depend on the quarterback to give me the ball. Like, it's just a lot that goes into it, right? But my mom is the one who actually brought it to me. She was like, look, we already see what's happening with the trend of DBs becoming bigger, right? I mean, we have these big receivers, we need bigger DBs. So she broke it down. Like, mom was Chat GPT before that. She was breaking it down, right? So I'm like, okay, like, I'm listening. She like, look, this is the trend, you know what I mean? You're long, you're going to stand out, like, you can already move. I'm like, all right, bet, like, let's try it. And I got a trainer out here, Clay Mack, my junior year. And right after that season, I started getting offers. So It was crazy. And Mom was the one who brought it up.
Shout out to the scout moms, boy.
For sure.
Shout out to her.
Sure.
Now you know what they say. Now I don't know if they say this anymore because y'all all can catch. Now they say DBs are just receivers that can't catch. So was there one too many drop passes that it was like? Hey,
I'm not even gonna lie. It was. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to lie to you. Like it was just not like yeah. You know what I mean? That definitely had something to do with it. It was like, look, as long as he don't catch it, you good. You know, so like I can do that. I can definitely do that.
I feel. My fault, EJ. No, high school football in Texas, man. I mean, my folks are from that area, so they talk noise to me about that's real football. So just tell me about football in Texas.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. It's all I know though. So this is the only football environment that I grew up around, right? Like I didn't go to like play in Georgia and Florida, these different places, right? But I knew it was legit though. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody poured their all into it, right? Like hiring trainers at an early age. Like, so I'm feeling like I'm behind. You know what I mean? Like I started playing when I was in fourth grade, and that's behind here, right? So like that's what I knew. Like, okay, this is real deal, right? And what's crazy about it is I feel like I didn't like I always like had passion for the game, but I didn't start like training and all that until my junior year when I switched to corner, right? And I just saw how competitive the football space was. It's not just who's at your high school. You start looking at like who's in your district, right? Who's in your county, and you start looking. It's like okay, like I got to make sure my shit's right. You know what I'm saying? So that competitive edge, like that's what took me over the top. It's always been just outwork guys. In Texas, you gonna find work. That's what I can always appreciate. I can always appreciate that. So we was all on the same accord. So it just made it even easier to just every day, keep that energy and then carry it along my football journey.
I love it. Yeah.
So any other sports while you were in high school, right? Because like it definitely, there's the couple of sciences, school of thought, right? Like, while you're not playing, your main sport, you should do an ancillary sport to kind of like work out other muscles and things like that. Or we just so targeted, on football, like probably into that junior year. How did that go for you?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I played basketball. And that was actually probably my real love. I feel like I could have been a hooper, but we all say that, right? So that was one of my loves when I was a freshman. And then my junior year, I actually ran track. I did track just to, like you said, work on running mechanics and different stuff like that. But both of those were only for a year. So yeah, that should tell a story, So football was definitely my main sport. And also my parents were intentional about making sure I didn't like burn out too quick. And at the time I couldn't really understand it, but like they're like, look, like you need a break, you need a recovery, right? So I understood that a little bit. But basketball, track for a year, that was it. That was the only other sports I played.
I love it. That's an interesting point. If I'll kind of stop there. We both unks here, right? So it was a little different time frame when we were playing, and I know the training thing is a big part now of just the development of athletes. So as somebody that's in the professional ranks right now, we'll get to that. But how important do you think of developing your skill set in training from an early age is important to where you're at now?
It's very important, like I look at it now and I'm like, okay, I started training seriously when I was a junior, like it worked out for me, but like if you can get the right development from an early age, like I don't even know what that looks like. I think about that every day. Like if I would have started with the right teaching, right, from an early age. So, that's part of what my vision is, moving forward, even after ball, like focusing on kids that we can develop like on and off the field, right? The right way, the right teaching. Because there's a lot of people who give their voices on, what should be done, how it should be done, right? And nobody has a perfect picture, but I feel like I can speak like life into, kids and just teach them the right way. So it's very important, we're on and off the field.
That's beautiful. Now, born in New York, though, right? Is not right? So, what was the change for like coming from New York and then moving? And I know when we're little, our parents control that, so we don't have much control. Was it at a young age? When did you make that move? Right? Because that's one to kind of follow up, like what it was, that dynamic of changing.
So born in New York, right? My mom, it's always just like running joke in our family. Like she's just like, yeah, you were there for like literally 2 weeks, and then we moved. So like she, she had me. I think literally a month later we moved, and we actually moved to North Carolina, ironically, right? So I was in North Carolina in Charlotte area for like till I was in second grade, and then we moved to Texas. So really, all my memories, my true memories, are in Texas. But I did have a couple stops before there.
Oh man, and it's so crazy, and we're going to get into that a little more. Well, shoot, I guess we can jump into it now, right? We'll get into the recruit. Well, you know what? You made your shoot your shot moment was talking about making that transfer, and like people don't understand that, taking that walk or whether it's moves our parents make. Like what was your destiny if you would have stayed in New York? Would you have been more of a hooper, right? New York is sort of like a hoop kind of place, but what was that recruiting where you ultimately were getting recruited and you committed to Kansas and then you transferred to Tulsa? So what was in that recruiting process for you to make those decisions, to make those moves?
Yeah. So what was important to me, I just wanted to make sure that my main points were my main points and where I was deciding to go, right? So I'm all about family, right? So I didn't want to move too far from where I'm at, right? I knew I could find somewhere to play where, I could still get home if need to, but I'm still far enough to where my parents aren't there every weekend, right? So that was a huge factor. Education, right? Parents preached it my whole life, like education first, right? Nobody can take that away from you. So I was like, okay, you're right. So that was important, and then just the culture, right? And the who was gonna be my coach. They always say don't choose a school just for the coach, but it's also important that whoever's there at that time is somebody who can help you like grow as a man, right? So, I was going through that process, and I had 5 offers coming out of high school, and Kansas had offered, and then out of the ones that I had at that time, I was like, like, it's close enough to home, I guess, compared to others, but still Big 12, right? So I'm like, I'll commit, but I just wasn't fully sold on it, right? Because where I wanted to go from the offers and interest that I had was Tulsa, but I didn't have that offer yet. So I committed, and it's crazy. I just felt uneasy. I felt uneasy, like even after I committed, they had like an event planned for us like the night, right, for like the last part of the recruiting trip. And I told my parents, I was like, yeah, I kind of just want to go home, like, and even they knew at that moment, like, he's uneasy about it, right? Because every time I went to Tulsa, I felt home. You know what I'm saying? They embraced me, like Coach Fletch, DB coach there, like I'm like, this is who's gonna get me right, like on the field, and make sure that I'm the man I'm supposed to be when I'm an adult, right? So like it was hard for me to process not being there, right? But I didn't have the offer yet, but he had told me even before. He was like, "Look, I'm gonna come get you." Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, "All right," like I'm waiting. I'm like, "Bro, like throw the offer. Like I got to do something, right?" And then finally, like a month later, got the offer, decommitted, and committed to Tulsa. So it was a crazy journey, but and I'll tell you what, actually, I was leaving the Kansas trip. 'Cause I told you I wanted to go back early, right? We stopped at a Chick-fil-A. Tulsa DB coach is there.
No,
Ran into. I was like, yeah, like it was just too much for me to just be like, this is not where I'm supposed to be, right? so,
look
so
at
that's how I
gosh.
ended up playing out.
That's the
It
lowest
was
tier.
crazy. It was crazy.
I love it, man. MH.
Yeah, I want to just pause a little bit on your parents because it seems like you mentioned your mom, but she's an ultimate scout.
Yep.
And then you being able to be open enough to say like, hey, and they knowing you like, hey, that might not be the right fit.
Yeah.
At Kansas, and you ultimately making your decision to Tulsa. So how important is your parents and the relationship with them in your life?
Very important. They taught me the morals to stand on, right? And that's gonna carry me through life. I really do appreciate it. Just seeing how, we see how people are raised these days, like it's crazy out here, right? So as I've gotten older, I've grown even more of an appreciation for, how they raised my sister and I, like my sisters. So, you know, that relationship, I hold it tight. You know what I mean? My road dogs, forever, for life. Because they've always given their all and their best to help me get to where wherever I was trying to be, they were all in, right? So they always got my back.
That's beautiful. So you just missed, or maybe was around the NIL stuff that was happening, right? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy to see what's going on nowadays, but it was still tough. What was it like, for you to make that decision? So going back again to your shoot your shot moment, what do you recall about the key factors for you to make that? Is it just somewhere you thought was going to put you in a better position? Or was it just kind of like a full circle moment, another feel? What was it about making that change?
Yeah, so one, I had my degree, so I graduated early, right? So that was first things first. If I didn't have my degree, I wasn't gonna leave. I was gonna stay there and just finish it out. So since I had my degree, I'm like, okay, like that gives me a little bit more flexibility, right? I can to on where I'm gonna go. My position coach left. He went to Mizzou, right? So I'm like, okay, you know, that just that happens. And then like you said, like a bigger stage. I felt like I did in a way all I could at Tulsa, right? Tulsa, we had a good run. We had a good run. I always tell people it made me who I am for sure, right? But I felt like it was time to close that chapter and move up to the next level. And like you said, the level competition, like SEC versus the American Conference, like we know how that looks to scouts and whatnot. So it just felt like the right timing, you know.
There it is.
It was really tough. It was hard for me, like. I'm an emotional person, so when it was time to leave, I'm like, damn, like I did to tear up. I'm like trying to tell coach, like, yeah, like I'm time to hit the portal, but it just was my love and appreciation for where I was at,
That's good stuff. So kind of rolling. Oh, go ahead. It makes y'all
No, go EJ, go.
So yeah, so rolling into the game, right? Like, so this is a part where we really want to talk about like that transition, getting into the league. So pick fourth round. You hear your name called. It was a 22 draft. There was a lot of moments and things that was hype in the 22 draft, man.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm looking back at it too. It's like when you're there, it was a lot of hype, but like, top 5 picks were defensive players in that draft.
Yeah.
It was so that went, and like, I mean, Missouri in a whole, y'all had a whole cast of DBs that went. Like, I mean, hell, secondary went in the draft.
Right.
Moment like for you, man? Like, do you remember your party? Give me that day when you got called, or like, how did you prepare for that?
Yeah, so I have my immediate family. We were all together in like we got a hotel suite actually. So we had got a suite. I had my best friend there, that my ride or die. And I didn't want anything too over like whelming, right? Because you just don't know how things are gonna play out. You could go day 2, day 3, you just don't know how that plays out. So you try to keep it cool, calm, and collect. But yeah, like that second, that third round, I was sitting there waiting. I'm like, I'm just knowing like it's gonna happen, and it didn't. And I remember my agent called and he was just like, all right, like we just got one DBs to go off the board fast, right? Tomorrow. I'm like, okay, like I'm hearing you. He was like, but you never know, like you might start sliding. You just never know, right? And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, like I need to go get a drink or something. like I'm hurt, right? So like I remember just kicking it with my boy that night, and he was like, bro, like don't worry about it. You know what I mean? This whole journey has happened the way it was supposed to happen. You didn't know how it was gonna look, but it worked the right way. And I'm like, all right. So the next morning, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, mom, if I don't get picked in the 4th round, like I'm turning it off. I'm going somewhere. Like that's that. And we sitting there, and then I get a call, and it was Minnesota, and I was like, oh my goodness, like tears start coming down, whole family crying, and it's surreal, right? Because you had your vision on this since you could remember, right, as a kid, and for that moment to finally come, it was like, wow, like anything you put your mind to, you can really achieve that, right? You put the right effort, right attitude towards it. But yeah, it was just a lot of excitement, a lot of excitement.
Tell us about those first, like I guess 24 to 48 hours on. We're getting close to the draft now. It's just fans of it, and I think as fans, we see the moment where you get that call, for the teams that show it, but we don't really understand all the movement parts that get you to the press conference to get you to, get in the mailroom for the first time. So what is that whirlwind of a process for you?
Yeah, like right before the draft, like, I spent hours, Mom and I both spent hours trying to figure out, okay, where are you going to end up getting picked? You know what I'm saying? Like trying to break it down, like this team tried to talk to you, but they said this. And it was just a mental, like, it was a lot, right? So, it was such a relief once we got to that moment that, like, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. You know what I mean? Because it's a constant phone calls with this team, and you have to pick up, and you're like, well, why are they talking to me if they probably don't even want to pick me? And it's just the whole rigmarole, right? So it was really stressful. Like you said, everybody just sees like, oh yeah, when you get picked, it's really like excitement for getting picked, and that the stress is gone at that point. In that way, like it's really both.
Yeah.
But like, my parents had to keep reminding me it's a blessing. It's a blessing. You could be getting no phone calls. You know what I mean? It could be the opposite. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let me, stay humble and stay on it, right? But it was, it was a stressful time for sure.
I can imagine. How is your approach and, like, I guess preparation? How did that change from college to now as an NFL player?
Yeah, I was told early on, like, the difference in the league is the guys who really like study the game, understand the game, and the guys who don't. Right? In college, I can get away with not diving in the film too much, right? Like, I would just go out there and be better than this guy, right? And some people can do that and get away with it. But the film study, definitely the biggest jump, that I had to make, coming into the league. Not just time wise, but what am I watching, right? Like, what am I breaking down, Because anybody can just sit there and just, like, play and watch that as a fan, but like when you really see what's happening, changes the game. So that was a huge game changer for me. Yeah.
It's funny because I always hear that, like, when you were part of a college system, they'll make all the receivers line up the same. But obviously in the NFL, there's going to be big guys, they line up a certain way. The little guys might have their whole stance and what they do different. Releases all different. So how much of that did you have to kind of navigate and learn? When you got into it.
Really, it was just like attention to details, right? Like all the things that you're saying, I'm not actively too much thinking in college, right? Like just line up and play, right? For the most part. In the league, it's like, okay, you trying to get every detail you can, right? Like you're saying, like, okay, is his shoulders over? Is he more relaxed, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's his split? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously down the distance, just different things that any clue that can give you an idea where the ball's gonna go, that's what you're looking for, right? And it's helped me realize how complex the game is, right? Because it's really the same game, just dressed up different. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like it's crazy. It's like really my NFL journey has just been an example of like my life journey. You know what I'm saying? Just how I see it, how I'm learning, how I'm seeing things. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Love that, man. And that's just hearing you break it down, right? Because it is those tips, those clues, those things that keep you close in the game, or right? They say it's a game of inches, and they mean that shit, right?
Yeah, like, for sure.
Levels. All right, man. So in the position you play, right? You're talking about some of this. You and MA started getting that, and that breaking the film down, huddle, that the nuances of the game. But largely, it's a mental game for defensive backs, right? Like it's a mental game between you and the receiver, you and the quarterback, you and the offensive coordinator. Like you're trying to all be in that kind of mental space, and you have to have a short-term memory in some cases too. But not only on the field, like how do you prepare yourself or keep yourself in the season, right? Because it's a long season, right? Like maybe didn't play how I wanted to one game, but bounced back and tore it up the other. So how do you mentally stay on top of your game and throughout the season? Especially with the mental position of DB.
Yeah, because I definitely had to adjust from when I came into the league to this point, right? There's two things for sure. One, week by week. An issue I had early on was like trying to look ahead. I've always been like a look ahead type of guy, right? Like something to look forward to and help me, get through it in a way, right? That's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too much to look at, right? Too much to keep on your mind. Like, no, 5 weeks from now does not matter. Like what matters is this week, what I can control in this moment. So when I started doing that, I'm like, okay, boom. I don't even know who we got next week. I'm right here, like literally, right? And it's helped me so much. And then secondly, like really not being on social media like that. You know, my rookie year, I'm all over Twitter. Like I'm all over Twitter. You know what I mean? I'm reading, I'm replying, I'm like just going back and forth, right? Now at this point, like I'm not even gonna be on Twitter all season probably, right? Because I just can't do that, right? It's not good for me, whether it's good or bad. It's irrelevant for me, right? So those are the two things I definitely focus on.
That's what's
No, shout out to KD.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. Exactly.
Edwards, right? Don't push in.
Yeah.
It's funny about the quarterback positions. A lot of your, I guess, if you call them mistakes, they're super like visual to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like I think fantasy football exists because of just defensive back mistakes.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
I sent a bad email to somebody today, but nobody but me and the person I sent the email to really know it. It was a mistake.
Right.
You know what I mean? But your mistakes are, you know, for millions of people to kind of have comments on, right? How do
Exactly.
you kind of keep your mental health and mental wellness kind of strong during those times?
Yeah. I got to a point where I was like, look, they can't do what I do, right? So like, why am I gonna like sit here and value what they're saying, right? You know what I mean? I had to really sit back and break it down, unpack it, right? Okay, who am I getting upset with right now? Who is this person? Like, you know what I mean? They're probably like living a life that they don't enjoy, right? They would give anything to be in my position. So like, come on, like you can't compete where you don't compare. You know what I'm saying? That's what I started telling myself, right? So it's like come on. I'm bigger than that.
I love it.
I love that, man. Going into, just want to maybe speak about a little adversity, right? Like you've been talking about just like your journey, right? And part of your journey when you came up, you are a physical player, right? Like you come up and you want to line heads. And all of that ends when you're talking about how you line up, if someone's leaning forward and all of those things. It's also technique, and you had to maybe adjust your technique coming in the game for how you were tackling. You know, the NFL is talking a lot about player safety. There's a lot of things around concussions, and you know, you had suffered a couple of those kind of coming on early in your career. Man, what did you do to change that, and like how, you know, have you kind of moved forward with that? Because I mean, there's a lot packed onto that, right? Like you finally get your dreams, but you want to play aggressive, right? And then you got your mom that almost did her baby,
right?
So take us through, you know, what were some of the things you had to do and how you overcame that adversity that you were finding early in your career.
Yeah, there's a few things. One, when I tackle, is try to be more intentional and keep my head up, right? It's easy to like try to brace yourself too, like you know it's gonna be a hit. So it's like like you know, you feel like you give it more power that way, but you know, understanding like just keep your head out of it, right? Try to be intentional about that. Second would be wearing my mouthpiece, right? I try to be cool, have the mouthpiece dangling, right?
Dangling.
Right, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm getting my swag right, and then I'm like, well, I'm realizing like, oh, that's contributing to probably why like I'm having a concussion, right? Like it helps for sure. So that was the second thing. Last thing was I'm like, okay, I changed my helmet, right? Because if it keeps happening, it happened like twice in the season, right? And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. You know, I need to change my technique, and I need to figure out something that can help me just equipment wise, right? So I switched my helmet. It's ugly. It's a bucket for sure.
You got
but
what's the name? What's the name
Guardian
of it?
yeah. I wear the Guardian cap, but the Axiom.
Yeah. As long as you know it's ugly.
It's bad. It's bad. I'm like, I don't even want to post on IG no more. Like, I don't even. I'm like, nah, this is terrible. But I'm like, to the point where I'm like, look, mom, because you know, mom, she was the one. Like, all right, you need to get the helmet, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, if I go a couple years without a concussion, can I just switch back? I think I can. I think I can handle the other one now.
F7 on. Let me put the F7 back on.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
I had an F7 for media day.
Yeah, exactly. Just need a picture in them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So your time with the Vikings, man. Man, Brian Flores is ridiculous, man. I mean, he was the defensive coordinator there, but former head coach in Miami. What was it like, man? Did you grow your game? Was there something about playing under that regime and with some of the people that were on the team? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. You know what I mean? It was a different type of coaching that I've had from any other place. And honestly, I've had coaches who are more, pat you on the back, you know what I'm saying? And that works for some people. Like, that's all I need, right? I'm not a kid that where it's like you gotta like berate, yell, anything like that. You just tell me what to do and I'm trying to adjust, right? But I needed that, from a coach that would, go get on your ass. Like, you're not getting with it, then you got to get going, right? So he helped instill that mindset, right? Like, this is the NFL. This is a job. This isn't just go out there, you playing with your homeboys. Like, it's a job. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the part of the game that I feel like I was missing, right? I was naive to a lot of things, right? Like, I'm out there, like I'm cool, right? You got to get to business, right? So having him as a defensive coordinator, it was rough. It was definitely rough. There were days I was like, I don't think I'm good at football. I just don't think I'm good at football. But
all right, because he's a different mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like and where do you play the game, and he's had that where maybe he's a little tougher, right? Like, but you get people get to their paths in different ways, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I respect his hustle. Like he's like, we're trying to win. We're here to win the game, right? And we go game plan. We're gonna be aggressive as hell, right? Like they playing on our terms. You know what I'm saying? So that helped flip the switch in my mind. Like, okay, like I'm with it. Like let's rock out.
How do you go? Go ahead, EJ. My fault. No, a little bit on the NFL like lifestyle. Like, how do you go about kind of building those relationships, whether that be with coaches, teammates, because it's such a transactional business. You know what I mean? Like,
so tough.
How do you go about doing that?
Oh, it's so tough. And this is one of the things I still deal with to this day, right? Like I told you, I'm a very family, friends. I have a closed group, right?
Yeah.
I don't let many people in. Like, it's very tough to get in that circle. So being in these spaces, like you said, it's transactional. But that's something that I had to get coming into the league too, right? College, high school, I'm with these guys 4 or 5 years, like I know what time it is. But NFL, my locker mate can be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, like you don't want to get too close, you know what I'm saying? And then they're gone or you're gone, right? But I also had to realize like not every relationship is meant to just be your best friend. Like not everybody has to be that, right? You have different people for different reasons. So just building that network and connection has become more important to me, right? And I value those more because these people deal with some of the same stuff I do, right? I can't talk to the same stuff to like my homeboys, exactly, right? So just keeping in touch, especially like the vets, that I've learned from, because you can always learn something from anybody, practice squad guy, Hall of Fame guy, it doesn't matter, right? So that's how I try to approach it now.
Man, I'm glad you pointed that out, man, because people forget that it is that business, right? We look at all these things when you're coming up through Pee-wee, high school, college, where it was a brotherhood, and y'all, you spend a lot of time with them and got into some fun. I'll say fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now you're playing this game that we loved and, that we have a different feeling to it and saying like, no, this is your job. You can still love the game, but there's just those aspects of it that you kind of have to adjust to. So thank you for sharing that insight because we sometimes forget that understanding that it's a sport, but it's also a business.
For sure.
You had mentioned talking about keeping the networks and in tune. How is the relationships with some of the vets, right? Like, does Cam come around? Does I'm just talking about the time people to my time, like Luke's going to the Hall of Fame, this year. So what are some of the things that the vets come around or do they do a good job with that down there? And do you mess with Jeremy Kelly down there?
So they do a good job of bringing the guys around. They do.
That's awesome.
I feel like every week, they have a former player, that's at practice, or come talk to us, right? And I respect it a lot because not every team has to do that. And we started building this culture of family, right? We have Dan Morgan as our GM, and he was a player, so he gets it. Bringing guys back and speaking life into what we got going on present day. So they definitely do bring guys back. And in terms of vets, like I spent most of my time in Minnesota, so my vets was Harrison Smith, right? Pat P. Those are my vets. yeah. He was my favorite player growing up. So and Stephon Gilmore, right? So those guys, I'm like, okay, these are the heavy hitters that been in the leagues, right? So those are the vets that I lean on. Like if I need anything, I reach out, right? Always willing to help me out, give advice on whatever I'm asking for.
That's crazy because I love watching Pat P too.
Yeah.
No, I just liked him, and I like Honey Badger. I just like the LSU DBs, Mo Claiborne. They
were lit.
Yeah. But what was kind of your welcome to the NFL moment? Was it like playing on the same team as Pat P, or what was that moment for you?
Oh, for sure. That's one of them. Walking into the first meeting, I look, oh, that's Pat P. Like, that's him. That's really him. Like, that's really him. And I'm sitting in my seat, like, low-key trying to be cool, but I'm cheesing hard. Like, dog, this is crazy. This is my favorite player growing up, and we on the same team. So that was definitely the first, like, okay, like this is real. I can't wait to get to practice. Like, you feel me? But in terms of actually playing, it was really my first snap, like my first NFL snap.
Okay.
This was the old kick. This was the old kickoff.
Oh, the old kickoff.
Hey, I'm saying I gotta drop like 20 yards. I want kickoff return. I gotta drop like 20, 30 yards. And I'm looking like, okay, like I'm counting down the numbers, like who I got? This big ass lob, like big ass, like DN. Like I'm like, oh my God. And he ran me over. I was like, nah, ain't no way. Ain't no way. This is what it is.
Return it, or was it just a touchback?
I think it was a touchback. That's what I'm like, oh my God. Full speed. Dog. I was like, okay. I was like, let me get my mind right. Like that, like first snap. I was like, wow. First snap.
All that for a touchback.
All that for a touchback. I was like, are you serious?
Yep, serious for his job, boy. Boy.
When they changed that rule, the kickoff rule, I was not bad. Like, hey, all right, like, we good. We are good.
Sorry. Oh, that's good stuff, man. I don't know where I was about to go, man. What receiver has been kind of like you had that battle with, or you like kind of looking forward to going against?
It was definitely like when I was in Minnesota, Jets, Jay Jettas. I'm like, this is the best, right? This is the best in the league. I'm like, I'm not gonna get no better work right here, And I grew confidence when I would go up against him, right? And I win a rep. I'm like, yeah, like, you belong, right? You got this, right? So that was one. Jordan Addison was over there. I've been blessed to be around like good receivers, with different skill sets. So those two were definitely the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm in practice today. I'm locked in on all of them, but I know what time it is with these two, right?
And then coming off go ahead.
No, I just want to hear about your first pick, man. We got to talk about getting that book. What was that?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. We were playing in Cincinnati. Yep. And Joe was actually hurt, so Jake Brown was in. I was like, oh yeah.
Okay.
I
gotta get.
I'm like, all right. Hey, you look, you're like, all right, I gotta book this one. Like, I gotta get him, right? So I'm sitting in the hole. I see him actually throw it. I said, all right, book, right? I'm running to the end zone. I'm throwing the ball up. I'm lit. Like, I'm like, I had to bookmark that one for sure.
Now, was it because when you see it throwing and he trying to throw it in the hole, you like, I know he's not really trying me like.
No, he's not really throwing this right now. It's like a movie. Like, we jump, that Madden pick, you catch it. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, this real deal.
So going back to those high school receiver days, was it like, hey, catch the ball first.
It was catch the ball. I don't care how you catch the ball. Hey, in high school, it was straight go ball. It wasn't no like dig, slant, none of that. Over the shoulder. So I'm like, okay, I gotta catch this joint right now. This is on TV. I'm like, it's that moment.
I love it.
Yeah.
You said Madden, man. Do you check your Madden rating? We've had a lot of guys on here. We definitely asked you check your Madden rating. I mean, 3 years in, I know you got to be watching that thing, right?
Yeah, I have. I think the highest I got was like 71, but I was like, I just don't want to be one of the like the lowest grade that you can be on. Like, come on, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the lowest grade. All right. Like, I can't be that,
Not something else that had to. Now I'm gonna have to show you this now, right?
Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I have homeboys. Like, one of my homies, he be playing the game all the time, and he like has me on my team or whatever. He'll make a play, be like, "Hey, bro, like send me the clip." I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, like what are you doing right now? We be lit though." I'm like, "It's hard."
Got your speed right on there. I mean, that's all that matters on Madden as long as they got your speed right.
I bet. Look, after I ran a 4.4 at the combine, because they weren't thinking I was gonna run that. After I ran that, you can say what you want.
Yeah.
I got 4.4 in the books. I'm good. Like,
I gotta be 90 plus, easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, my speed. Yeah.
Exactly.
When's the last time you ran a 40?
The combine. Hey, I'm not opening it up like that again. Like, nah, nope. Train for that. As soon as that was done, checked it off. I'm good.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Exactly.
All right, man. Before we wrap it to jump into the next segment, man, just great. I mean, you finished the year as the champs of the NFC, right? I mean, I know it was a tough battle to get there, but hey, book it in the column is booked in the column.
It's there. It's in the banner.
Yeah, and 6 times winning it, and of course you want to look forward, but just in that division, man, like how are the goals kind of set? Is that something you guys come through camp and have that vision of like what we want to do? Because like it's all about, in sports, we talk about stacking, right?
Yeah.
Like, like you said, hey, I'm only focused on this week to next week. So how are you guys stacking up the momentum of champs last year and bringing it into this year? And you talk just personal.
Yeah, I think overall it's all about building the culture, So when I first got there, we weren't good. We weren't good, right? And I'm like, okay, what's the difference between when I was in Minnesota and here, right? When we were winning there versus here. And it was the culture, right? Like, the stuff would happen in practice where you might let it slide, you not hold each other accountable all the time. Those little things, right? Coming into this year, it was different. It was like, look, you get with it or you get left, Like, and we love everybody here. Like, we really do mean that, but we're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna show that way. And I'm there, like, I'm all for it. Like, I see this work, you know what I'm saying? We all got talent. It's that part, right? So we every week built that, grew an identity, right? Like, how are we gonna play? How are teams gonna look at us on the schedule? Are they gonna be like, the Panthers? Or are they gonna be like, okay, like, we know it's gonna be a fight, right? So that's what we've been building on, and we will continue to. And I'm excited about this year. Like,
That's what I like.
Mike out the division. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I think we look good.
Okay, there it is. All right, MH, man, you ready with the sudden change?
Yeah, let's do it. So these are just kind of random questions, yes or no type questions, so our listeners can get to know you a little better. So,
Sure.
Texting or talking on the phone?
Talking on the phone.
Favorite day of the week?
Saturday.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
A nickname your folks back at home call you or they used to call you?
Big AK.
I love it. Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Oh, 10.
10, okay. Place you most want to travel?
Ooh, I kind of already went. I always wanted to go to Hawaii, so I went there. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Favorite? I saw another interview with Candyman. So what's the selection? Give me your top 5 candies. What we got?
Top 5. I'm always gonna get some sour Skittles. I'm always gonna have some gummy worms. I'm gonna throw Hershey's in there so I can have some chocolate. Everything. Reese's is fire. And I'm gonna go Starburst. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
This is EJ would like this one. You iPhone or you Android?
Oh, iPhone.
Yeah,
Yeah. My mom has an Android. I'm like,
yo.
every 3 months, I'm like, all right, mom, it's that time.
Your mom has one. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah.
Mom, shout out to moms.
Yeah. Shout out to moms. No disrespect. Green bubbles.
Green bubble.
Green, weird. Favorite childhood TV show?
SpongeBob.
Okay. Last Halloween costume that you
Me and my girl, we dressed up as I was a hot Cheeto and she was the hot Cheeto bag. So I was a hot Cheeto and she was the bag, and yeah, it was crazy.
You know them hot Cheetos ones, y'all, those bad kids.
Yeah, oh yeah. We showed her ass for sure that night. Like, yeah.
I know y'all did, just because y'all hot Cheetos.
For sure.
We need the photos of that one. We need
Yeah,
those.
that's funny.
Oh yeah, I got the picture for you.
Last one, MH.
Yes, sir. That was it.
Okay. I got one for you, man. And I don't normally do this, but like hanging around MH, you know, he trained me well to go way off script. We do random shit sometimes, so this is not too crazy. But are you familiar with my man Carolina Mike, man?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some videos, heard him sing a little bit.
You were in the locker room when he performed at y'all stadium last year, man. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
So we ain't counting your bag, so we're gonna put it in another realm, right? But if you had an extra $150K, man, what would you spend it on? What would be like the big purchase that you would do with $150,000?
So I'm actually in that dilemma right now. I think I would go get a G-Wagon. I've been wanting a G-Wagon. I think I can get one in that range. But like, you know, mom, she's only gonna be in my ear. Like, you could just do this over here, right? And I respect it, but I ain't gonna lie, that G-Wagon, man. I love that whip. I love it.
Let's get this sponsorship deal going, man. Get something off on it.
You know what I mean? Like, work with me.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for that. It made so sudden change, man. We want to jump into the winner's circle, man. So here in the winner's circle, it's really promoting and performing and talking about, what you got going on. We have people talk about all different things because what we love about this show is giving people a platform, right? Like you're an amazing, that 1%, make it to the NFL, and we're excited to follow you and keep supporting what you do. But it's off the field, man. You've been killing it and doing amazing things. And I mean, the fact that you started your foundation in high school, man, like, tell us about the genesis of why that was so important, or how did that come about to start your foundation, which a lot of people's like, oh, when I get to this level or when I get to this job, then I'm going to do it. What was it about you for starting your foundation in high school, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like it's better to see the people around you become happy and get to where they're trying to go than like, your self-success. You do have a level of fulfillment with that, but at this point, I'm like, man, it feels so good to just help somebody else, right? Because you just never know what I can do for them. And I've always felt that way, but my parents, once again, they were like you said, you don't have to wait until you have a boatload of money or like, you know what I mean, to give back and help people, right? Time. Time is priceless, right? So if you want to give back, you can give your time. And I'm like, okay, like I get that. So she, mom helped me, set up the foundation. And I'm glad that I have the parents that I do, right? Because they're the ones who really push me to move forward with it, right? Take the idea and put it out there. So that's one of my greatest accomplishments, is starting that in high school and being able to grow my mind from then to this point has been tremendous.
Now you do it to focus on your community. So it was focused on your community of Texas at that time. What were just some of the things to give our listeners like a breath of just some of the things you would do? Was it drives, or were you like car? Just some of the things that you were doing during that time with the foundation.
Yeah, so like food drive, to go to do that, give my time, do like turkey drives, right there, because I'm here, right. So definitely Thanksgiving and Christmas, we always did a give back, right? And then even from the local hospital that I would go to when I would have injuries and stuff like that, went there, make sure I gave all them gift cards, right? Just the little things. to show that you care, you support for the people that helped you and have helped you along the way. So that was their way of showing me, like, look, it don't have to be much. You don't have to give everybody, $1,000. It's not that. It's about just making sure you do something, right? So those are some of the small things I was able to do when I was in high school is show my support.
Yeah, you were recognized for basically your community service at the Reese's Senior Bowl. Shout out to being there. How was that? How did that feel?
Felt good. It felt good. Like that, like you said, they show love for it, because it's easy for people to be like, oh, that's cool. But like they actually took the time to, recognize me for it and give an award. So I was very thankful that they were able to do that and that they did that.
Now, how did you come up with the name for the foundation?
Always elevate. Yeah. So, AE, one of my coaches used to always call me AE, right? And we're like, okay, that's cool. But what's my mantra? What is it that I try to show on a day-to-day basis? What has been my journey, right? It's never been just boom, shoot to the top. That's not how I've been. It's rigid, right? But it's always elevating. So I'm like, boom, like it makes sense. It's clear. It's anybody can use that phrase and feel at one with it, right? No matter what you're doing in life, you're always trying to elevate. You know what I mean? A job promotion, you want to elevate your health, right? You want to elevate your spirituality, right? Whatever it is, you can always elevate. So I feel like it's just a great mindset, and I want to embody that.
I love that. Well, you just missed NIL with that, bro.
I'm just like I'm so sick about it. Like I'm like, wow, like the money that they done.
Having a brand. Okay, anyway, go ahead, MH. I know you have one.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of touched on what I was going to ask. It's just like, how do you want young athletes that interact with you? How do you want them to feel about after hearing you or hearing your story or, kind of following, what do you want them to get out of it?
Anything's possible. And you can put your mind to it. I don't want to sound too cliche, but it's really that. Day to day, every day, I knew what it was that I wanted to get at, and that was play football in the NFL, get an education, and it looks different than what you may think. That's the where I feel like most people miss it. They think, okay, this is exactly how it's gonna go, right? I'm gonna go to this college. I'm gonna get drafted first round. I'm gonna go to this team, right? Just like I did. But it looks completely different than what I thought it was going to. But at the end of the day, I got to where I was trying to get to because I had faith that I was doing the right things. I was moving the right way. So when I share my story, that's what I want people to hear. That no matter what situation you're in and your goals, like you can achieve that. Just don't get thrown off the path just because one situation doesn't look exactly how you expect it to. Because we don't know what that looks like, right? We just have to work every day and it go as it may. So that's what I want anybody that I'm talking to, all the youth, right, that I try to work with to understand.
Man, that's amazing, brother. All right, so want to talk about a future endeavor or one that's kind of really in the works. So this year you're launching the Always Elevate DB performance or DB. Some I don't know what we're totally calling it, but so I'll stop talking. But you can share with what's your goal or tell us more about that.
Yeah, so my mom, she's really into like the parent side, right? So educating the parents on what it is that your kids probably need to be doing, right? A lot of parents just don't know, right? There's a lot of information out there, they don't know which one's the right information, just to help guide that pathway because it really starts there at the household, right? So mom's gonna have that aspect, and for me, it's to always elevate DB, right? Obviously, training DBs in the area, starting off here locally, and developing, right? Because I had a trainer that was able to help me get to where I'm trying to get to, and I just want to make sure that these kids are doing things the right way, right? Just like I wish I would have had for myself. So I want to be able to provide that for them, just like I said, I would have wanted for myself. So, setting these kids up on the field and then making sure that they understand that it's more than just ball, right? And I feel like that's where I can be different in this space because a lot of people just care about what you can do on the field, right? Obviously, that's important. We want to create, the best DBs out here. We're gonna do that, right? But what kind of man are you gonna become, right? Because that's what's gonna follow you. And if I can speak that into your life, yeah, hopefully, we can coach everybody up to be a first round draft pick. But the likelihood of that happening isn't there. But who you are is gonna carry through. So if I can get that through their head, no, I won, right? We all won. So that's what I'm looking to get at with this always elevate DB performance.
No, man, I love that. And and you're doing it while you're in your career.
Yeah.
And this is a very rare percentage of people that even make it to that point. And I hope you play as a meeting you. I hope you just play for 15 years. As long as you want to play, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I know that window is a small part of the window. So for you in that window to be giving back to your community, man, it's commendable. So really appreciate what you're doing there, bro. That's big time.
I appreciate it.
And then understanding the pillars of it, right? Like you're a testament to it, right? You were built on those solid pillars of those foundations, man, that, like your mom is instilling, and then understanding how those things translate to playing on the field and doing that. So you said locally, are you just focusing on Texas where, you grew up, or are you doing something in the towns you're playing? Or is it like focusing Texas now and grow, right? Because I know you're launching it this year, and things have things to grow. So what are we starting off with when you launch it this year?
Yeah, definitely starting in Texas and growing. My first mantra when I started my foundation in high school was legends start at home, right? So I want to make sure that I'm affecting my community, the community that grew me, helped me develop, right? Because this home. And then continue to expand from there. But I definitely, want to start pouring in here because home is home, and I just want to make sure my community is first for sure.
I was thinking of Marshawn Lynch when he said, "And out Texas, so I can restore my community."
Exactly.
Marshawn Lynch, but no, this is awesome, and love to see it grow into a DB summit, right? Like, you have Von Miller that created the pass rush, thing where those guys get, it's the higher, right? Maybe the going into the draft and the professional players. And then your boy George Kittle started tight end day, tight end university that became tight end day. So let's get the DBs out there and show some.
You know what I mean? We just know how we get though. Like, we get a little like, but it's a great idea though. We can all come together and just work, right?
Absolutely, man. Go ahead, Mitch.
No, being a DB, and I'm talking from what I remember as press technique is about patience, right?
Yep.
And you're working with kids. So how do you balance how do you help them balance chasing that dream and then staying patient with the process? You know what I mean? Not getting too far ahead of themselves, but just really staying patient, whether that's on the field or really off the field. Like, how do you help them balance that and navigate that?
Yeah, I think one is just being patient with them, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't preach being patient, right? But then I'm like, not being patient, not letting them grow, right? and that's something that I've really tried to hone in on because it's important, like patience is a way of life, right? So speaking my words as best as I can to them, right? Because I can't go do it for them. You have to have a certain level of intrinsic motivation also, right? We've seen that some people just don't have it. But regardless, my words can move them, right? And daily giving that to them. Not just I'm just a DB coach, a DB trainer, right? That's not that. It's a whole lifestyle. And once they get that, then it's like, okay, it's regular. You know what I mean? The best I've seen do this, they're like, this is regular. This is what I do. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like I just happen to show up on game day. Like, no, every day is that. So still that confidence. That's when I saw my journey start turning around. Where I'm like, no, like you are him. Like you're one of the ones, right? You have to tell yourself that. So give confidence to him.
Man, speaking life, man. That's beautiful, bro. All right, so how can we help? Like, tell our listeners how we can help or kind of get involved. I know this is something new, and Black in Sports, once you start putting that stuff out, promoting that stuff, we'll tag it, we'll share it. We want to get that message out there. So, for our listeners in the Texas area. But how can people support?
Yeah, I'm launching my website this week. akaylebevans.com. So that'll be up. You'll be able to find all my information, what I got going on locally. It's all going to be posted there. And just, when we have events, show your support in any way that you can, whether you're participating, whether you're volunteering, anything helps because we're a community, like let's help grow it because, legends start at home. So whether it's your kid, yourself, whoever it is, you're helping somebody. So let's do it. Let's help each other.
Love that. All right, man. We're getting to love this, man. I mean, enjoy speaking. We're getting to the end. So this is a part of the show we call the assist. You get to put your coaching hat on or your training hat. But this is where you would either share a quote that you live by, a philosophy that you live by, or just something that you would have told your younger self. But it's any one of those things. But if you could give us those words of wisdom or pass that gem to us and drop some gems.
Yeah, I would say for me, my day-to-day is stand for something or fall for anything. That's something that I've lived by. It's been my whole testament through my whole journey. You got to have faith in something, because that's what's going to carry you through. You can't walk this journey by yourself. It takes a village, right? And I strongly believe that. That's why, like I said, my mom's gonna handle the parents. I'm gonna handle the kids because it's a village. It's not just one person gonna be able to conquer it all. That's just not how this goes, right? So I try to embody those words every day, and stand on what my beliefs. Because that's what's got me to this point. That's what's going to carry me through. And I know those words of wisdom can help a lot of people.
Love that. All right, MH, final thoughts, man.
No, man, just appreciate your time, man. I know you guys are, starting to ramp up and getting back into that mode in the off season. So appreciate you giving us a little time, man. And we definitely going to support your journey on and off the field, man, as you're doing big things and, keep it up, man. Stay healthy.
No, for sure. I appreciate y'all for having me. This is lit. This is lit. This is God talk for sure.
Hey, well, you're welcome anytime, and we're tapped in the circle. So how we can continue to support? Like I said, you got two other fans that's rooting for you and support you along the way, and off the field as well. So thank you for your time. And, we're going to get out of here. So we want to thank our guests again, and we want to thank you, the people, for listening. Special shout out to Mrs. Sims. Thank you so much for making things kind of happen behind the scenes. So hopefully we can get you on camera one day. But hope you all enjoyed the show, man. Please, if you're listening and you like the show, share the show with someone else, man, because there's some gems and nuggets that could be shared and people can listen. We drop a new show every Thursday. So subscribe to our YouTube because visual representation matters. If you see it, you can be it. And subscribe to us everywhere. We're all over social. And just we say all the time, man, please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know that we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.